customer comes in, I was standing right here. The moment she came in, I saw she was like a little sketch. I asked her if she needed help, and she said no. So I decided to come over here in the cameras just to see what she was gonna do. She went for the more expensive wigs around the $500 range. Started walking over here where we have the lace fronts, and she just starts looking at them like normal, like touching them and stuff. But then she just started picking these up. She was going in with the wig. These are not the pricier stuff. She gets like a whole bunch of these wigs, and the girl wasn't stopping. The girl was not caring. She comes over here where we have the human hair wigs. That's when I was like, oh, I'm gonna keep an eye on her. Because the human hair wigs are a little bit pricier. She just ripped her off. Girl didn't care. She ran at the store with 10 to 12 wigs in her arms. I ran after her. Her arms were completely full. We get to the door. We crash at the door. She drops them, and then she still kept like a few in her hand, so I decided to run after her. We start tugging, pulling out the wigs. She pushes me, and I fall, and I grabbed as many wigs as I could. The woman told me I wasn't supposed to be touching her, and she ended up pushing me. I still have some of the bruises. When she's outside, we got kind of scared because she starts like pulling at the door, calling us names. She throws up at one point. The police were called because she was trying to come back in, and she said she was going to hurt us. I was afraid. For someone to come in here and steal made me very upset. I don't think laws are helping. I wish it was a way we could protect ourselves. I think of this business as my home. It feeds my family, pays for my bills, and pays for my school.
Okay, well, Maria, did you go to work that day thinking you were going to be grappling on the sidewalk?
No, no. For me, it was just like a normal Monday.
When you decided to stop her,
Yeah.
she's saying, "Don't touch me. You're stealing stuff from the store." And you know, to me, that reflects this entitled attitude. Like, don't touch me. I can steal from you, but don't you touch me.
It pissed me off. I was like, no way you're gonna come in here and you're gonna tell me, don't touch me.
Did the cops ever catch her?
They didn't.
You know, the state law in Arizona, shoplifting property of less than $1,000 is a Class 1 misdemeanor unless the property is a firearm, in which case the shoplifting is a Class 6 felony. So they can come steal up to $1,000, and it's a misdemeanor.
I don't see why these people could come into a store, steal whatever they want, and us that we have to actually pay for everything. We work hard, and it's not fair.
Because $1,000 is a lot of money for a small store,
it's
right?
It's a lot.
I'm at the hardware store getting material for a weekend project, and the employee starts yelling, stop, I need to see your receipt. So I started filming. Another employee tried to kind of run in and stop them.
Doesn't it suck you guys can't do anything? I mean, I think it's just amazing. Wow. Call the police. You know, I would think that Salem Police Department, Kaiser Police Department would do something about it. I know Portland Police Department doesn't do anything about it.
And so these guys just mosey on out with 2 cartfuls of wire.
Dude, that's thousands of dollars. I'm an electrician, bro. Yeah, look at that. Where's the license tag?
And they all jumped in and drove away. I know that when I go shop at these stores that they're making up for all this loss by charging me, the customer, more. I think most people are pretty mad about it. I know I am.
I'm Andrew Copeland, the patrol lieutenant for the Kaiser Police Department. Shoplifting in Oregon is on the rise. In Kaiser, shoplifting is up 16% from last year. When a shoplift gets reported, we find the suspect. We don't take them to jail. We give them a piece of paper with a court date on it. When that shoplifter doesn't show up in 30 days to that court date, they get a fail to appear warrant. This is just a vicious cycle that bogs the system down. There's no accountability, no consequences. The suspect walked out of the store with thousands of dollars of merchandise. People are frustrated that there's no accountability.
Call the police. You know, I would think that Salem Police Department, Kaiser Police Department would do something about it.
We didn't get called on that until the next day. As cops, you're told to go apprehend suspects and solve crime, which we love to do. And when you do that, there's no accountability on the back end for the person committing the crime. I would say that's a little bit frustrating.
Dude, that's thousands of dollars.
Thank you for your service and what you do.
Thank you.
This has got to be frustrating for you.
Yes, an incident such as this one, if we showed up on scene at that time,
found those people in that stolen car with all that stolen wire, we would give them a citation and let them go.
Just a piece of paper and
Piece of paper.
they go.
Hopefully they show up to court in 30 days, which most people do not.
I look at this from a psychological perspective, and I've got to tell you, I think there is a steady decline in really core principled behavior right now. This is an erosion of what culture teaches in terms of personal pride, and it's just responsibility has morphed from pride in accomplishment to just being entitled.
My name's Sergeant Rich Rossman. I've been in criminal investigation as a detective and supervisor overseeing criminal investigations. Nearly 23 years ago, I investigated a case. Back then, I just thought it was a person stealing a lot of stuff. We didn't have a name for it, but that name now, it's organized retail crime. People make a very good living. They can make $1 million. They supply gangs, criminal activity, turf wars. The product that gets stolen is no different than like a narcotic or a drug. I understand the reality of violent crime, but let's not forget the little things, because little things matter. So if you pay attention to the little things, we can maybe help solve the big thing.
Organized retail crime has a much larger financial impact as opposed to what a lot of people see as the shoplifting. Organized retail crime, these people get up, put on a shirt and tie, some of them, regular clothes, and that's what they do for a living.
How do they monetize it?
They'll sell it. There's a network. There's an entire criminal enterprise network out there that does it. And a lot of the items that they're stealing are a little higher end, like, you know, $30, $40, $50, $100 items. The over-the-counter medication that a lot of us buy, health and beauty aids, and they're getting 25, 30 cents on the dollars. They sell it to the fence, and it continues to move along the illicit supply chain.
Where does the consumer ultimately get it?
A lot of times, unfortunately, it ends up online.
These people that talk about that this is largely a crime of the oppressed, and that this is everybody just trying to steal something that their kids need, that doesn't look to me to be what's going on here when I see them on the Miracle Mile in Chicago or Rodeo Drive down here stealing designer bags. It doesn't look to me like they're doing that to feed their children.
No, sir. Many of the professionals, they live a very good lifestyle. That's what they do. That's their job.
I'm Frank. I'm not a shoplifter, but I'm into retail organized crime. I do this for a living, not just run out and steal something when I need something. Been this way for about 30 years for me. And because of my experience, I've become highly skilled. I'm very, very professional about what I do, but I'm not proud of it. I don't do mom-and-pop operations, just corporations. To me, that's below the belt. Over the past 7 or 8 years in these stores, I have seen so little change to curtail retail theft. Hopefully things are going to change. Hopefully things are going to get better, because the public, we all pay the price.
What kind of things do you steal?
High-value things, and obviously the smaller the better. People have to remember, they're not going to steal something unless they can't sell it.
Give me an example of a type item that is small enough to be stolen, but valuable enough to convert and resell.
Some a joint pain relief medicine that retails for $40, $50. You can get $20 for those. So 5 of them, it's $100.
So how much money do you make a year?
Last year was $250,000.
The merchandise is going out the door, whether it's the guy on the bike with a trash can bag full of stuff or you in a baggy suit. The only difference is you're more efficient and more consistent than the guy on the bike. So you seem to be more of a plague on the industry than the guy on the bike.
It's possible, but I'm certainly not a harm or a danger to anybody that works in a store.
Other than they're losing their job.
I don't think they would lose their job over 15 bottles being missing. That goes right back to the corporation and the store manager, not the person making $10 an hour. It's disgraceful how little has been done to improve shoplifting, loss of single pieces of merchandise in these stores.
Well, I think what's disgraceful is your logic. But I am very grateful for your willingness to talk to us today and to be honest about what you're saying. I will give you a piece of advice that you didn't ask for. I think you could make $250,000 as a security consultant to the retail industry and probably sleep better at night while you were doing it. So thank you for talking to us today, Frank.
Thank you, Dr.
This is Market Street, and over here to the left is the drugstore.
My name is Peter Santenello. I am a video maker. I make videos all over the world.
A few years back, Prop 47 came into law, which basically made it a misdemeanor instead of a felony to steal up to $950.
San Francisco has always had some rough parts. The pandemic has put a 10x spotlight on the situation.
So the drugstore where I live, every day of the week they say, people are going in and stealing. So they grab up to $950 worth of whatever, put it in a bag, walk out. Now here's where it gets very interesting. If the employee says anything to the criminal or tries to confiscate the stolen goods, the employee will get fired. They just go in and get whatever they want and leave, right?
Every day, I want, I do, I fail.
You can't stop them? No stopping.
You call the police every day.
What do the police do?
Police.
They come?
They come.
Can't do much, huh?
Later.
You'd think this would be made up, but no. We're now in a society where looting is incentivized.
I love San Francisco, but I don't feel safe with my wife walking down the streets. Everyone hits a snapping point, hit mine, and I'm out.
Peter Santenello joins us now virtually. Peter, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Phil.
You left San Francisco, which is a city that you love.
Yeah, there are two things going on. You have a police force that's been demoralized. So they're going to turn their head the other way as much as they can. I don't blame them. The city doesn't support them so much. And then you have a society that I feel like also doesn't support the police force so much. So what do you get? The end result is more danger on the streets. I was just in Detroit, and it's shocking to me that 2021 downtown Detroit is way safer and way cleaner than San Francisco. I would have never thought in a million years, but that's the reality.
Peter, you talked to a security guard. He was like throwing his hands up at the same time. Like, what's the point? I mean, the police do come when you call them, but they come later, right?
Yeah, and well, the problem is the DA doesn't prosecute. So it is a crime. You know, it is a misdemeanor. It should be prosecuted, but nothing's going to happen. So that's why the cops in San Francisco are more hands-off, because they're going to do the hard work and then see someone on the streets immediately after, so it's not worth it for them.
And Lieutenant, is it demoralizing when you know there's nothing you can do, there's no accountability, you can't deter the behavior?
It is. You know, most people get into this profession for righteous reasons, and we want to do good work. And when you're not supported by the community around you or the district attorney's office or the legislation, that's frustrating, a little demoralizing. If we can get that righteousness back to the profession, treat people well, and hold people accountable, I think we'll be a better place.
I appreciate hearing from my Gen Z audience, but I do want to point out the following. You can't ignore that this capitalist system also provides those people with a lot of benefits they don't have to steal, especially during the pandemic that Emily mentioned. For example, rent forgiveness, mortgage freeze, government assistance, unemployment benefits extensions and bonuses, not to mention private charities. That 1% that was brought up, the top 25 philanthropists have given or donated over $50 billion in the last 5 years alone. Just saying.
A surge in shoplifting. Criminals who walk into stores and take whatever they want.
People are fed up.
How some are fighting back.
You tried to stop her.
I still have some of the bruises.
We pay for what they steal. There has to be consequences.
New Dr. Phil. Check your local listings.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.